Pushpa Raj was not born into greatness. He carved it out of the rugged terrain of the Seshakalam forests. A man of humble beginnings, Pushpa's story began as a daily laborer, overlooked by society and dismissed for his lack of a surname. In a world that measured worth by lineage, Pushpa was determined to write his destiny, wielding his ambition as a weapon against the odds stacked against him. His rough-hewn personality, coupled with an unrelenting drive, made him stand out among the countless workers toiling away in obscurity. The forest was not merely a backdrop to Pushpa's life. It was an unforgiving arena where power and survival were constantly tested. Red sandalwood, a precious and highly sought-after commodity, dictated the rhythm of life in this perilous environment. The towering trees and dense canopy concealed not just the illegal trade, but also the unspoken hierarchies and fierce rivalries that governed it. Pushpa, with his sharp instincts, saw an opportunity in this chaotic world. Realizing that ambition alone would not suffice, cunning and courage were essential. Though his beginnings were modest, Pushpa's grit and resourcefulness quickly became evident. Among the workers who accepted their lot without question, he stood out by challenging the norms. He knew that to rise above his circumstances, he had to do more than just blend in. He had to redefine the game. The laborious tasks of chopping and transporting logs, which others saw as burdens, Pushpa viewed as stepping stones. His keen eye for detail and ability to adapt to the forest's harsh demands set him apart from the rest. Pushpa's defiance of societal norms made him a target of scorn, yet it also earned him admiration among those who dared to dream. He wasn't just battling external forces, he was waging a war against the identity imposed upon him. Without a family name or social status, Pushpa crafted his identity through actions that spoke louder than words. His fearlessness became his calling card, and his refusal to bow to authority marked the beginning of his rise. The whispers of Pushpa's potential began to spread, drawing the attention of those entrenched in the smuggling trade. He wasn't just another worker. He was a man who saw beyond the immediate and dared to think bigger. Yet, this recognition was a double-edged sword. It opened doors but also brought challenges that tested his mettle. Pushpa was stepping into a world where survival demanded more than just ambition. It required the ability to navigate a labyrinth of deceit, danger, and treachery. Even in these early days, there was an undeniable fire in Pushpa's eyes, a hunger to rise above the limitations imposed by his birth. It was this fire that propelled him forward, driving him to stake his claim in a world where the weak were trampled and only the bold thrived. As Pushpa's journey began to take shape, the seeds of his transformation were sown, hinting at a destiny far greater than anyone could have imagined. Pushpa Raj's rise was not an accident. It was the result of his calculated choices and relentless pursuit of power. From the moment he stepped into the dangerous world of red sandalwood smuggling, it was clear he was no ordinary man. What set him apart was his ability to think ahead, turning obstacles into opportunities. He started at the bottom, carrying heavy logs on his back through treacherous terrain, but his sharp mind and unyielding spirit refused to let him stay there for long. Pushpa's first steps in the smuggling ring revealed his knack for innovation. He observed the operations closely, learning every detail of how the trade functioned. It wasn't long before he began suggesting ways to make the process more efficient. His ideas were simple yet effective, and they caught the attention of his superiors. Unlike others, Pushpa didn't just follow orders. He improved them, finding ways to transport the contraband faster and evade the authorities more effectively. His contributions quickly elevated his status, making him indispensable to the network. As Pushpa gained influence, his personality began to shine through. He was fearless, often taking risks that others would shy away from. Whether it was navigating dangerous forest routes or negotiating with ruthless traders, Pushpa's confidence never wavered. He had an uncanny ability to read people, understanding their motives and using that knowledge to his advantage. This skill earned him both allies and enemies, but it also solidified his reputation as a man to be reckoned with. Pushpa's rise wasn't without its challenges. The smuggling world was rife with rivalry and betrayal, and not everyone welcomed his growing prominence. Established players in the trade viewed him as a threat, and attempts were made to undermine him. Yet Pushpa thrived under pressure. He knew how to turn these challenges into stepping stones, using every setback as an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. His resilience became his greatest weapon, allowing him to navigate the murky waters of the trade with ease. A pivotal moment in Pushpa's journey came when he faced his first major test of leadership. A shipment of red sandalwood was intercepted, and the blame fell on the workers. While others panicked, Pushpa stepped forward, devising a plan to recover the lost goods and prove their innocence. His quick thinking and courage not only salvaged the operation but also earned him the respect of his peers. It was a defining moment that marked his transition from a worker to a leader. Pushpa's ascent wasn't just about ambition, it was about proving a point. Every move he made was a statement to those who doubted him, to a society that tried to keep him in the shadows. With each victory, he solidified his place in the smuggling hierarchy, earning not just power but also the loyalty of those who saw in him a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations. Pushpa Raj was no longer just a man trying to survive. He was becoming a force to be reckoned with, shaping his destiny with every calculated step forward. Pushpa Raj's growing power brought with it a new set of challenges that tested not only his skills but also his resilience. As his influence expanded, so did the circle of people who wanted to see him fall. The smuggling world was cutthroat, with alliances that shifted like sand and loyalties that were as fragile as glass. Pushpa, now a leader, found himself navigating an intricate web of power struggles and deceit, where every move had the potential to make or break him. The pressure of maintaining his position began to weigh heavily on him. Rivals within the trade, envious of his rapid rise, plotted against him. They saw him as an outsider who had climbed too high, too quickly, and they were determined to bring him down. Pushpa, aware of the dangers, remained vigilant, but even he could not foresee every betrayal. The trust he placed in certain allies was betrayed, leaving him vulnerable at critical moments. These betrayals weren't just attacks on his power. They were deeply personal, shaking the foundations of his carefully constructed world. One of the most significant betrayals came from someone Pushpa had considered family, a trusted ally who had been with him since his early days. This betrayal was not just a blow to his operations, but a wound to his spirit. Pushpa, however, was not one to crumble under pressure. He channeled his pain into strategy, ensuring that his enemies would regret underestimating him. Still, the emotional toll was undeniable, forcing Pushpa to confront the loneliness that came with his position at the top. Amid these external conflicts, Pushpa faced an internal struggle that was equally intense. His ambition, once a pure force driving him forward, began to feel like a double-edged sword. The higher he climbed, the more he questioned whether the price he was paying was worth it. Relationships strained under the weight of his growing power, and moments of introspection revealed a side of Pushpa that longed for simplicity. Yet, his pride and determination wouldn't allow him to step back. He had come too far to turn around, and he was determined to see his journey through, no matter the cost. As tensions escalated, Pushpa found himself at odds not only with his rivals, but also with the authorities. Corrupt officials, who had previously turned a blind eye to the smuggling operations, began to target him. Unlike his earlier days, when evading the law had been a matter of survival, these confrontations now felt like battles for dominance. Pushpa's cunning and resourcefulness were pushed to their limits as he outmaneuvered both his rivals and the authorities, proving time and again why he was a force to be reckoned with. Despite the chaos surrounding him, Pushpa refused to let the challenges define him. He was a man of contradictions, ruthless yet loyal, calculating yet emotional. These contradictions fueled his resilience, allowing him to adapt and thrive in an environment that sought to crush him at every turn. Each conflict, each betrayal, and each moment of doubt became a part of his story, shaping him into the legend he was destined to become. Pushpa Raj's journey reached its most defining phase as the stakes rose to life-threatening levels. His enemies had grown bolder, and his once loyal allies began questioning their allegiance. The fragile equilibrium he had maintained was shattered when a powerful rival emerged, a figure with the resources and influence to challenge everything Pushpa had built. This adversary wasn't just a competitor in the trade. They represented the system that had oppressed Pushpa his entire life, a force determined to erase his legacy and reduce him to obscurity once more. The confrontation between Pushpa and this rival wasn't immediate. It was a slow, calculated build-up, marked by strategic moves and devastating blows. Pushpa's network was targeted relentlessly, shipments intercepted, allies threatened, and his name tarnished among those who had once respected him. Yet, true to his nature, Pushpa refused to be cornered. Every attack was met with a counterstrike, every loss with a measured retaliation. Pushpa's ability to adapt became his greatest strength as he leveraged his deep understanding of the trade and his uncanny knack for turning the tables on his enemies. Amid the external chaos, Pushpa was forced to confront the personal cost of his ambition. His closest relationships, strained by years of secrecy and danger, began to crumble. Those who once stood by his side questioned his priorities, accusing him of valuing power over loyalty. Pushpa, though pained by these accusations, remained focused on the bigger picture. He believed that the sacrifices he was making were necessary, even if they left scars that would never fully heal. His determination to secure his legacy outweighed any temporary pain, though it came at the cost of his humanity. The final showdown between Pushpa and his rival was as much a battle of wits as it was a test of endurance. It was fought in the shadows, with every move calculated to dismantle the other's foundation. Pushpa's knowledge of the terrain and his deep-rooted connections in the forest gave him a crucial advantage. While his rival relied on brute force and corruption, Pushpa used his ingenuity, exploiting every weakness in their strategy. The forest, which had been Pushpa's adversary in his early days, now became his greatest ally, sheltering him and aiding his fight for survival. In the end, Pushpa emerged victorious, but it was not a triumph without cost. The battles had left him scarred, physically, emotionally, and mentally. He had achieved what he set out to do, proving his worth to a world that had dismissed him. Yet, the victory felt hollow, a reminder of all he had lost along the way. The power he now wielded came with a burden, and the throne he had fought so hard to claim felt lonelier than ever. As Pushpa stood at the peak of his journey, he reflected on the road that had brought him here. He was no longer the man who had entered the trade as an anonymous laborer, but a figure whose name resonated far beyond the forest. Pushpa Raj was a symbol of defiance, resilience, and the price of ambition. His story was a testament to the fact that greatness never comes without sacrifice, and the legacy he left behind would endure long after he was gone.